A boom mic is any microphone attached to the end of a boom pole, and they let you point the mic in a certain direction and also choose how close or how far away you are from the person talking. A lot of the time, but not always, a directional style microphone is used when you're setting up a boom mic. A directional mic picks up most of the sound from in front of it where it's pointed, but not as much around the sides or behind it. Highly directional microphones are called shotgun mics, like this one. Shotgun mics are usually longer and thinner than other kinds of microphones. Because they pick up less sound from the sides and the back, they're really great for use in noisy environments or outdoors. You don't have to use a shotgun mic on a boom pole setup, you can use other types of microphone as well. The microphone gets attached to a boom pole. You can get different lengths of boom pole. This one has telescopic sections to make it longer. This particular boom pole has an audio cable built in that goes down the middle of it. Having this built-in cable makes it a lot quicker to set up and you don't have wires running up the outside of the boom pole. But it also means if this cable gets damaged inside the pole or you want to use a different kind of audio cable, you're going to end up running a cable up the outside of the boom pole anyway. So once you've chosen your boom pole, you need to attach the microphone to it. The first thing you're going to want to do is attach a shock mount to the end of the boom pole. This is the shock mount that came with the microphone that we're going to be using today. I'll put links to all of this equipment down in the video description. First thing we need to do is attach this shock mount to the end of the boom pole. You might need to use an adapter depending on the thread size at the end of the boom mic. This particular boom mic actually came with an adapter, which makes it really easy to use. So all we need to do is screw the shock mount onto the end of the boom pole and just make sure it's nice and secure. The next thing we need to do is fit the microphone into this shock mount. I'm using this shotgun mic here from Rode. You can see we've got these little holes up and down the microphone. You want to make sure that when you're fitting this into the shock mount that you don't cover up these holes, as that's going to affect the quality of the audio. That means the audio connector is going to be at the back and the front of the mic is going to be pointing towards the subject. So let's go and fit this in the shock mount. Just clip it into these holders, making sure we don't cover up those holes. So this is what it looks like when it's fitted into that shock mount. If the boom pole comes with an integrated sound cable, you can plug this end into the microphone. If it doesn't have an integrated sound cable, attach your own audio cable to the microphone and then run it along the boom pole and then secure the wire to the boom pole. Because this particular boom pole has an integrated cable, it's got this socket at the end, so I can plug one end of an audio cable into this and then attach the other end of this audio cable to your camera or a recording device. So you can use a boom mic on a stand, which I'll show you in a minute, or you can use it handheld. So for example, you're probably going to want to use it handheld if you're filming on location or the subject's moving around. Just unlock and extend the boom pole and relock it. And then all you want to do is hold the boom pole as close to the subject to get good sound, but not so low as you're going to get the microphone showing up in the frame. Also, you want to try and keep the distance of the boom pole to the subject the same through the entire shot. Otherwise, you're going to get different volume levels as you're recording. If you don't have a high ceiling, you can also use the underslung approach, and then you can also alter the angle of the shock mount depending on how you're filming. Also, if you're using a shotgun mic like this, you want to make sure that the front of the microphone is pointing directly at the audio source, usually the face of the person. If you're filming a scene and the people that you're recording aren't moving around, such as an interview or perhaps filming yourself in a YouTube video, a better solution is to actually fit the boom pole onto a stand. There's a few different ways to do this. One approach would be to fit the shock mount and the microphone to the end of a C-stand grip arm like this. The problem is with this approach is that these grip arms aren't very long, so you might not be able to get the microphone close enough to the subject without it showing up in the frame of the shot. Another option is to use a boom pole that we've already seen and then get one of these boom pole holders that you can fit into a grip head on a C-stand. What you want to do is loosen off the grip head and then slot it into the smaller hole. Make sure it's all the way in and then just tighten up the grip head to keep it in place. You then go and grab your boom pole, slot it into this U-shaped bit at the front and then thread it through underneath this hook at the back. And the weight of gravity pulling down pushes up on this back hook and keeps everything in place. Because you're potentially going to be extending this boom pole quite far out past the centre of gravity, you need to make sure that you go and fit sandbags to the bottom of your C-stand, just to keep everybody safe on set. So where do you position a boom mic? It doesn't matter whether you're using a boom mic handheld or you've got it fitted to a stand. There's two basic ways. The first is an overhead position and the second is an underhead position. In both cases, the aim is to get the microphone as close to the subject as possible to get a good sound without it appearing in the shot. In this overhead example that we've got here, we've positioned the microphone slightly in front and above the subject, and we've used the shock mount to angle the microphone down so it's pointing directly at the source of the sound, which would be the face in this example. You're probably going to get slightly better sound using an overhead setup than an underhead setup, and if you've seen any behind the scenes footage of when films are made, they're normally using an overhead boom position. That's because the mic is closer to the face. Obviously that's where the sound is coming from, so you're going to get more natural sound every production. And this is a below head example. You can see the boom mics at the bottom there pointing up. The mic's positioned below and slightly in front of the person here. And we've angled the microphone up, pointing to the source of the sound, which in this case is the face. This below head setup can be useful when you're in cramped conditions or perhaps the ceiling's not high enough to get the mic overhead. One downside to this below position is that because the microphone's pointing up and it's closer to the chest than the head, the sound of the person's voice might sound a bit more bassy because the bass sound comes from the chest. Also, if the person that you're recording talks a lot with their hands and they have jewelry or perhaps a watch or rings, because the hands are closer to the microphone in this underhead position, the sound of that clanking jewelry may sound disproportionately loud compared to the talking because the hands are closer to the microphone. So this is what the audio sounds like with the shotgun mic situated in the underhead position, and this is what the shotgun microphone sounds like in the overhead position. Improving the sound quality in your videos or films is usually going to make the whole thing seem a lot more professional. Check out this playlist next for more tips on making better sounding videos and films. I'm Jason Roberts, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.